This is Sarah Squires bringing you behind the headlines in today's edition of YO Today Newsroom. Today I'm joined in the studio by Alma Law. He is the chair of the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival, which is coming up here. Welcome to the studio, Alma.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Good to be here.
So tell us in a nutshell, what have you guys got in store for us with this festival?
So the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival has been going on for 6 years now. 2019 was the first iteration of this. Local librarian Amy Vincent dreamed it up years ago and has created this annual gathering. So every year this time, authors from all over Wyoming come to Lander and they read from their works. They open up their latest or their favorite or just something they've dabbled on and take turns up in front of the group of readers, listeners, to give you a 10-minute preview of something that they've been working on.
Oh, cool. So we're looking at pretty close here on the calendar. It's running from October 10th through the 12th. So on Friday night, it starts at 5:30 on October 10th at the Lander Library in the Carnegie Room. It sounds like we've got some youth stuff kind of up our sleeves for that day. Then on Saturday, the 11th, activities will start at 9 a.m. at the Lander Senior Center. And then on Sunday, we're also back at the Lander Senior Center, and we get to absorb a little bit of poetry and nonfiction. Now, I kind of want to go over things kind of day by day here so folks can really kind of mark their calendars and know exactly when they want to be down there. So let's go over what's going on Friday night, starting at 5:30 at the Lander Library in the Carnegie Room. What have you guys got in store, Alma?
If you join us at 5:30 at the Carnegie Room, first of all, we have our children's literature readings. So the authors from around the state who have created these pieces of children's or literature or YA will read selections of that. Then that'll be paired with our awards. We're handing out the cash prizes for the youth around the county who have turned in a short fiction contest entry. We have a board that's partners of ours who have put this on, and they've already approved the budget for the next 3 years, so this will be ongoing. If you or your child has these youth fiction desires, habits, then keep us in mind. Please be ready to turn those in and be in the running for these cash prizes. And then that'll wrap up. In the evening, we'll have some options for people who are traveling into town to do for that Friday night, getting to know the area and being welcomed to our great community.
No, that's really cool. I think, Alma, you and I are both writers, and I think most people who kind of put their energy and their passion into writing, they can look back to their childhood, to a moment when they were really encouraged and where someone kind of said, you know what, you're really good at this.
Wow,
you should try.
Was good, right?
Yeah. So it's so inspiring to think that we might be able to see that moment in action on Friday at the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival coming up here. So lots of young writers who will have their kind of special moment. And so that is something I think that, families, parents, folks who are interested in young adult fiction, it sounds like we've also got some reading sessions too that night, right?
Yeah, so there will be a reading session for our traveling Wyoming authors. They will show up and they will be able to read from their children's literature. That will then be followed by youth from this area who've submitted for the contest. The rest of them aren't contest. And they will have the opportunity to read their own work. Sometimes they choose the option of having me come up and read their work.
Yeah. One of my moments, I think, that I was thinking about, I had to read my work in front of my peers. That was very embarrassing.
And it really opens it up. Like you get a different feel for what you just wrote.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
intone it.
Yeah. Well, that is an exciting night, I think, for a lot of families, a lot of folks. And, I think it's cool that we have these young adult authors to sort of look up to. Now, speaking of that, we've got some genre sessions. So regardless of what you're really a fan of, what really floats your boat when it comes to your reading list, on Saturday, starting at 9 a.m. at the Lander Senior Center, we've got just about something for everyone. What can you tell us about what's going on Saturday?
So I'm excited. This is unofficial right here. It's not on our notes, but Saturday morning we have a very special announcement from a good friend of mine in Laramie who is a publisher, and she has some really cool news that she is waiting until the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival to deliver to the world. So first of all, we'll start with some announcements. We'll get a special spotlight on my friend Hallie, and that will be followed by our first session of author readings, which will include fantasy, sci-fi, speculative fiction, mystery, and humorous writing. And so as soon as Hallie's done with her announcement, we'll have all the authors take the stage for their 10 minutes of glory. Right after there'll be a short break. You walk around, stretch your legs, go back to the refreshment table. There's going to be plenty of refreshments the whole time. The next genre will be women's literature, and then specifically young adult, followed by romance.
Okay.
So our morning and early afternoon will be taken up by the fantasy and young adult romance authors. You'll have a moment to go out and eat lunch after that, and we hope to see everybody back for historical fiction, Western fiction, and my pinnacle event that I'm really hoping to see everybody for. Do you remember Scholastic book fairs? Do you remember you go into the library and your mom gave you $10 and you try to make it go as far as possible?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What about doing that as an adult? Wouldn't it just be nice to have the thrill of all of these fancy books and the special occasion because they all came in just for that weekend?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I remember those book fairs well. That was a special moment in time, and yeah, definitely trying to stretch your dollars. So that book fair starts from 3:30 to 5:30 on Saturday at the Lander Senior Center. So you'll be able to not only check out some books here, grab a few copies, but there'll also be authors there who can sign them, and you get the opportunity to meet these guys and really put a face behind the stories that we all come to love.
A lot of them you just heard read their work. You all morning they've been reading it, and so you just said, "Ooh, I want to read the rest of that." I'm hooked. And they're from all over the state. There's some great people that I have been just looking forward every year. I email them and say, "You're coming this year too, right?" "Oh yeah, I wouldn't miss it." Friends from Cody or Clark, Wyoming. She comes down. She has cozy apocalyptic fiction that she reads from and then sits at her table. They're from Cheyenne, some of the poets, and there's a lady who's going to read her poetry on Sunday, but Saturday she's reading her new kind of a sci-fi, you might call it gothic, a little bit more on the borderline horror genre that she's going to read from.
Interesting.
But you get to meet them in person. You get to select, ask them their recommendations on their books. They'll sign it right there with a little dedication for you. In person at the book fair. Also, have you heard about the indie bookstore that's opening up?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, Jessie Crawford will be there with a special booth to help people know what she's starting in Lander.
Well, that's exciting. I'm eagerly anticipating the opening for that. And
Indie Darling, right? Indie Darling Bookstore is what she's...
Well, cool. So if you are maybe more of a nonfiction fan, or if you're just a poet and you don't even know it, we've got something for you on Sunday. It sounds like the action starts at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday the 12th, also at the Lander Senior Center. What have we got going on Sunday, Alma?
So we are hearing from our powerful attendees, our featured authors. They're going to read from their nonfiction pieces. They usually do historical pieces about Wyoming. Some of them pull from their memoir publications or journals. And then something that we've always done on Sunday morning is our poets. They stand up and just deliver the goods. Like emotions travel with them, and you're elated and you're depressed and you're thrilled, and like you're just in their palms for the poetry readings that they do.
Yeah, there's something special, I think, about hearing poetry aloud, especially spoken by the poet. When I was in college, I think I wrote a paper about this. I interviewed Saul Williams. I don't know if you know who that is. And there's something about the spoken word that really is so meaningful when it comes to poetry because, it's an interpretive thing,
And they deliver. Half of them in my memory are from Lander. You'll recognize them from different speaking events that they do, but you may not know the poetry that they pull out of themselves. But my dear friend Mandy Hines coming in from Cheyenne, like you've got to be in the room where she tells her story in poetry.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, she brings you on a journey.
So, Alma, I know you're kind of busy behind the scenes with all of this, but so from your perspective, you're kind of in the know here. Tell us what your itinerary is. What are the things that you can't miss this year?
Well, here... There's a few other literary clubs, writers clubs all over the state, and they have big conferences, conventions, they have big gatherings. Back in June, I went to the Wyoming Writers Conference. It was in Casper. Great people. Like I love being back in their company. There's a lot of sitting and listening to presentations about how to publish, and it's really important. Mm-hmm. But when I'm there, I think to myself, I wish I had more time to talk to these people. I wish I had more time to meet the people who are in these sessions. Mm-hmm. I want to hear from my peers who are writing. So I really like coming to the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival and seeing the faces that I saw in Casper, but then hearing their words, feeling their personality, and then visiting with them between breaks, and then sitting down and like getting their book recommendations, like seeing their signatures the rest of the year as I read the books that they gave me. So there's all these sessions, there's all this really good, scheduling, but it's the time where you get to take a deep breath and get to know each other. Mm-hmm. They have told me that we might fix this if you listen. That we might fix this. The book fair is the least lucrative book fair they go to during the year, but maybe the most meaningful because the person that they're selling to maybe bought one of their books last year and they're coming back for more this year, or they feel like the placements, they're way more likely to go ahead and hand that book off to a friend. Mm-hmm. So the book fair is really important placements of I know this person, I just met this person, and now they're going to read my book instead of just signing books and handing them all over.
Mm-hmm. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival coming up here on October 10th through the 12th. It is the 6th annual festival, and it packs a real punch. So the festival begins on the 10th. That's a Friday at the Lander Library Carnegie Room at 5:30 p.m. There you'll be able to hear from some young adult authors and some local youth getting their fiction awards and a little bit about from their writing. Saturday, the festival moves to the Lander Senior Center and kicks off at 9 a.m. with an exciting top secret announcement from a Laramie publisher. And then we've got a series of genre sessions where you will be able to kind of hear from Wyoming local authors reading from their new works, and then a book fair from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. where you'll be able to buy those books and get them signed and kind of meet and greet with the authors. Sunday, we're going to hit up the poetry and nonfiction starting at 9:30 a.m. at the Lander Senior Center, and that is absolutely sounds like an incredible morning of action too. So one thing that occurred to me, Alma, I'm a really big reader, but every once in a while I get into a little bit of a slump. I think for me, it's when, I pick up a book and I think, I don't really like this one that much. But I'm so stubborn that I have to finish it even if I don't like it. So like sometimes that's what kind of weighs me down. But it's events like this, like the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival, that really kind of reinvigorate my reading chops, and so I'm really excited for that. And, a chance to meet these authors I think is really inspiring and kind of see, these are our friends, our neighbors. Wyoming, we're a big state, but we're what's the phrase? It's the long roads or.
Yeah, a small community with long roads.
There you go. Yeah. So, it's a chance to support support authors in the Cowboy State and kind of, I think they really pack a punch. I remember before I moved here, I thought there are definitely a couple authors that I followed, and I thought there's something going on in Wyoming.
Wyoming feeds your creative soul in many directions, whether it's nature, whether it's the sports, the athletic outdoor events, or just the people that you get to meet and the depth of their experience and the generations of their experience. So the very first moment where Bookmarked became a maybe was when then Lander librarian Amy Vincent was, fielding a request from a community member. This community member came in really excited. She just published. And she said, okay, well, where is your collection of local authors? And she thought, oh, I know we have them. I know they are a thing, but how do I put up a display, and how do I make a table, and how do I introduce, people come in the door and I say, here is a local. Mm-hmm. So she said, we've got to create that space. We've got to create that energy to say, I would love to introduce you to the local authors. And so the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival was born in that moment, and it took a little while to create more momentum.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I was thinking back. A couple of years ago, I interviewed Margaret Cole, and I had never read any of her books before, but, she's in Colorado, but she finds, this Wind River country the most fascinating setting in the world, and so I think maybe that's part of it, that we are kind of inspired by, the wild outdoors of Wyoming and all of the, stories that might conjure up. We've got such an incredible history too. So, history buffs, we've got nonfiction on Sunday morning, the 12th at the Lander Senior Center, but absolutely lots to explore. And for me, I'm starting to look ahead. Sometimes winter is where I do my best reading, and it's also where I sort of sometimes stray outside of my comfort zone. I think it is because I am trying to escape planet Earth and the winter entirely. Sometimes, I'm not a real sci-fi fantasy girl, but sometimes I go, you know what, we just need to go to another planet, right?
Yeah, where your vitamin D comes right out of the pages of a book.
Yeah. So this is an opportunity to really stock up and make sure that you are set for winter. For when we're, maybe struggling with some cabin fever, you can go anywhere with a book. And that is so exciting.
And please come meet my friends, Millie Copper, Devin Atwood, KJ Gillenwater, Mandy Hines, like I mentioned, our brand new author, Jessica Baer, who's on the board, and she'll be coming in to talk to somebody here. Nona Schrader, who's a return resident of Lander, who has her second book was just published. She's working on her third now, of a series of ecological thriller, ecological historical fiction from this area.
Cool.
There's just way too many names to be able to fumble out right now, but it's a joy to gather among them and know which ones are coming back, because they wouldn't miss it.
Yeah. Well, we are so lucky to have this going on in our backyards. Definitely, even if you're out, in the far-flung corners of Hot Springs County, it's not that big of a drive. That is a short road to get to the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival. It's coming up here from Friday, October 10th through Sunday, October 12th. We've got a jam-packed schedule full of local authors from Wyoming, and including local youth fiction authors who we'll hear from on Friday. So that's definitely something to check out. Now, Alma, if somebody is interested to kind of follow this up, or they need a reminder, is there somewhere online they can go to check out the full schedule?
Yep. Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival, the new Facebook page, the revamped and relaunched Facebook page. If you had followed us before, find us the new one and follow that one. Then there is Bookmarked Festival, I think .com. We're working on. Do a couple of variations of that. That one's going to be relaunched soon. And look around the libraries and different businesses in town for flyers and postings. I want to make sure to give credit where it's due. For a couple of years now, I guess the whole history of this, we have been very fortunate to be part of the Lander Community Foundation network of nonprofit organizations. We are also a 501c3. They helped us do that. But they do the Challenge for Charities every year. And so let me say, the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival is free admission for all the activities that we do. We don't ask a dime from anybody. In fact, even this year, we're not going to take 10% of book fair sales. We want them to keep their sales, and we want you to be able to access as many as possible. And it's all covered financially through the Challenge for Charities disbursement that we had back in August. And we're so happy that it was the money that we needed. So we will have refreshments and a couple of meals and all these venues, and every expense we had, marketing and things, were covered because of the Lander Community Foundation. MJ Green is a hero of mine, a good friend.
Wow, that is so cool. Maybe not everybody knows, but that is a rarity among book festivals, this kind of thing. Usually you have to pay to go, and usually the authors have to kind of fork over a percentage. So the fact this is sort of a symbiotic relationship here, we benefit, the authors benefit, we can show our support and really keep this thing going. So
Exactly,
it sounds like sounds like a great time. So I'm gonna give you the lowdown one more time, guys. It's coming up here, the Bookmarked Literary Arts Festival, running from Friday, October 10th through Sunday, October 12th. It kicks off on Friday at 5:30 p.m. on October 10th at the Lander Library in the Carnegie Room. Saturday and Sunday will be at the Lander Senior Center, and meet us there, guys.
Please, I look forward to seeing you with my friends and making a bigger group.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Alma, for your work on this event and for sharing it with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.